Come experience Nolan's. Savor award-winning steaks, Greek-style cuisine, fresh local seafood, and an extensive choice of wines. Whether you'd like to reserve the large private dining room, enjoy a meal on an outdoor deck, or rock the night away in our lounge, Nolan's now celebrating 25 years of exceeding your expectations for casual fine dining, live entertainment, and dancing nightly.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. You know, in the world we live in, many people are asking, what can my community offer me? Who do I need to know in my community? How much business can I get out of my community? When the real question should be, what can I do to serve my community better and really reach outside of my community to inspire others? Today we're going to be talking to a very special guest who's not only served her community well, but brought joy and entertainment to people around the world. We're going to be talking with writer, actress, and film commissioner Julie Gordon's on the show. Amazing lady. We're also going to be joined by my dear friend James Parr, who is also a child actor and internet marketing extraordinaire. Stay with us. Tuesdays with Dan starts right now. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the show tonight. I'm joined by my dear friend James Parr. James, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How about you?
It's great to see you. You look great. I'm doing well. How's the family doing?
Wonderful. They're doing great.
Well, it seems like every time I talk to you, everything's going great. I know your business is going great. You're in a beautiful place. Life's pretty good. I want to come over and be like the brother that you never had, if possible. But, you know, I'm excited about the guest tonight, and it's kind of right up in your wheelhouse because, as many of you know, James was actually on the show a while back, and we talked a lot about your successes now. Obviously, you're running a very successful internet company, Parr Media Group. But what we didn't really have a chance to get into is that you were a child actor very successfully from the age of 3 months old to 20s?
In my 20s.
In your 20s.
Mid-20s. Started teetering out at that time.
Yep. And then there's a transition to get into more of the business world.
Yes.
Or the, you know, kind of a different thing. But talk a little bit about that before we bring on our guest. I mean, you know, obviously you probably don't remember the auditions at 3 months old. But as a child, you were actually going out to these auditions, and I know you were on a lot of the shows that I love, which is probably going to date me, but shows like Emergency and Rockford Files and, I mean, Beretta, which seems like he would be a pretty crazy guy, but many different ones. But what was that experience like?
Well, it was being in school and being considered a Hollywood star was like, it was really different because during certain days, we'd go and get our class curriculum for the week if we were on location somewhere filming. And so the other kids looked at us different and thought we were the big stars. And back then, it was interesting. I remember going to casting calls, and we had our photos that we'd carry and hand out. And meeting those people, it was a whole different, it really made you grow up quick.
Yeah, and I know that you became friends with many great people. James Garner was a personal favorite of mine.
Yes.
But along the lines, did they give you any solid advice that kind of molded your career? Not only for the acting, but even maybe things that you've carried on into what you're doing now?
Definitely James Gardner and Telly Savalas from Kojak.
Oh, man.
They were friends of our family, and they would actually come and the biggest thing that James Gardner would say is be yourself. And I can remember that I got hooked on bagels and cream cheese, and it was from James Gardner when I was about 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I wanted donuts.
Most kids are like donuts. Like,
yeah,
do we
donuts.
Have lox to go with this?
Right.
Yeah.
But he was like, you got to try this, and strawberry cream cheese. And
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if we had strawberry cream cheese back then, but
Yeah.
super guys, really down to earth. And you met a whole range of people. Robert Blake was a different character.
Yeah.
And had a lot of issues back then, but there was a lot of great people in that film business.
He's still got some issues now, I think. But
I believe so.
But I mean, Beretta, I mean, come on, that was
Yeah.
like a staple back in the day, him and the Parrot. But so I'm sure early on, not so much, but do you remember not only going to your calls, but did you understand at that time, you know, I'm going and I'm going to, it's like a job. Did you understand the full scope of what you're involved in? Or was it more like parents saying, you need to go here and say this, and you didn't fully grasp?
Well, that's funny because we were there to market ourselves, and I guess that's why I turned into marketing. But I can remember, and it's funny because it was like a $1 million contract, and it was with Rodney Alaripi. He was the spokesperson for Jack in the Box, and we were going up against him. And they put a big hamburger, slid it out across the big boardroom table, all the casting directors, and they said, take a big bite of this. And I said, no, that's all right, just because I had mannerisms from my mom and dad. And they said, no, you want to take a bite of this. And I never did, but I regret it to this day. But that was a funny deal. And I've got an identical twin brother, and he was so mad at me. He took a big bite, but I wouldn't take one, and so we lost the deal. But
well, and I'm sure that, like, obviously TV is still kind of a new thing to me. I'm more of an entrepreneur that now does a TV show, but I'm always trying to learn and try to better myself. And I know that you were in that. The first 25 years of your life was pretty serious into TV, and I'm really excited about our guest tonight. If I had to actually go on and tell you her bio, the show would probably be ending by the time I got finished. She's done so many things, from writing and actress and even doing her own stunts, and now she's the film commissioner. Please welcome Julie Gordon.
welcome to the show.
Julie, how are
Hi,
you? Thank
thanks
you.
for having me.
Pleasure. Now I'm really excited to have you, and I'm actually more cognizant of, like, I got to sit up straight and I got to do this TV thing right. Normally I can wing it, but having a pro like you. But before we get into being film commissioner and what that entails and some of the projects that you have going on now, tell me a little bit about your background, where you're from, and how you got started.
I was actually raised a really chubby child, and I realized that at the age of 20 that I was not really just big boned, that I really was just fat. And so I decided at that point that I wanted to get into bodybuilding because I thought, wow, this is great. I love the way these people look.
Yeah.
And we had moved all of my life. My dad was Army, so I was in 12 schools, 11 years. I was always the new kid, but I was always the fun one, you know. So when I realized I actually was just heavy, I went to the gym, and within 1 year, the day of me starting to train, I was competing.
Unreal.
So I lost 80 pounds and began bodybuilding, and that changed my entire life.
Now, obviously, you still keep up. I'm trying not to look too much, but you
Quit
keep up
looking
with
at my
yourself.
microphone. I know you're looking at my microphone. I know that.
You keep up very well, obviously, to this day. But now, was that happening in the Gulf, the Gulf area?
Yeah,
or?
that was in Panama City, and I decided that that's what I wanted to pursue. So I actually started doing more contests, and I got picked up out of a magazine. They said, hey, we think it'd be great to do a music video. So I went down, met some people, met an agent, and I started going to castings. I was on Clarissa Explains It All. I worked for Nickelodeon for a long time. You know,
That's
some of those
oh
guys.
yeah,
I worked with
definitely.
Rodney Allen.
Yeah.
Some of the guys you've worked with, I've worked with.
That's great.
And then I wanted to do a little more hardcore stuff, so I was the bad girl biker babe. A lot of different shows. I know you
Like a
can't
White
tell
Snake
why.
video or
Yeah,
something.
I had a platinum flat top. I doubled
That's
as Brigitte
awesome.
Nielsen. I doubled as Susan Powder in the
Yeah.
commercials
Oh,
for all of her products. So it was a great, great process, and I loved every second of it.
Wow. Now, I know that you also had quite a career in acting and even did stunts and things like that. Tell us a little bit about.
Loved doing the stunts. I trained with some of the best, Stunts Unlimited, Rodney Rondell, and Matt Johnston, and the people that did all Schwarzenegger's and Mel Gibson's pictures. And we were shooting a movie over in Daytona Beach, Florida.
Yeah.
And the movie was oddly enough called Daytona Beach. and it was starring Lee Majors and Alexander Paul, and a lot of people from the BSB days, back from the Baywatch days.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I had done some shows down there before with Hulk Hogan and Paradise, Thunder in Paradise, things like that. And so I thought, I'm really tired of sitting in my trailer. I want to do some stuff. So I started doing my own fight scenes, riding on the back of a motorcycle, jumping it over an opening drawbridge. So that's the end I liked. I didn't want to be a stunt person because you didn't get to act. So I still wanted to act, but do what they would let you do up to a certain point.
Yeah. So you were the Tom Cruise of your day before the Tom Cruise, or you see without the crazy part.
Tom Cruise is all wire foo. I really did my stunts. I really threw myself off the bike. So
wow. Well, and so you've had, and I mentioned, there's so many things that you've done, but so you've come from doing stunts and bodybuilding and all these things to now, I know that you're the film commissioner for the Panama City area. What exactly does a film commissioner do? I have some ideas of what I think they do, but talk a little bit about job description.
For me, it was the perfect segue from going to the acting to the filming, to the producing, because I was going everywhere else around the country shooting these pictures.
Right.
I thought, why aren't we doing them here? So I thought, let's make a film commission here. And I didn't know how one worked. I just knew that we wanted to be bringing film there.
Right.
So I just started calling my old contacts that were in film and said, look, I live in this incredible location. We've got great people here. We've got actors. We've got talent. We've got location. We've got a community willing to help work with it. So let's start bringing some shows in. So for about 4 years, I pounded the pavement and just proved to the community at large that that is something that I thought we needed.
Was the transition difficult for you to start playing that role now?
I really wanted to be on the other side of the camera. I did both for just a little while, but I really liked the chaos, the organized chaos of being behind the camera. So it was kind of a release, to finally get to be on the backside and make things happen on the front side. So,
wow. What kind of impact does, bringing films in have on a community?
There's several different types. Yeah. There's the immediate return, the immediate impact of a film coming in and putting in heads in beds. We're filling up hotels, we're filling up restaurants, we're hiring people, we're paying them big bucks. That's the immediate impact, the first kind.
Right.
The second kind comes when the show airs. And now we're getting media that's on television or on stations or on the big screen.
Right.
And that's advertising we couldn't buy.
Right.
If you look at a Travel Channel show or, home improvement type of shows that scream in at Panama City Beach, Orange Beach, Pensacola, wherever your state is, wherever your location is, and they keep screaming that over and over, that's reinforcing advertising. Well,
and I'm originally from the LA area, and I have friends, of course. What I don't like about those areas, is if somebody's ever produced a YouTube video, it's like I'm a producer, and there's so much hype and stuff. But you think of LA, New York, maybe for tax purposes, Louisiana or Michigan when you think of films. But I didn't realize how many projects were heading out, like the Panama City Beach, Seaside. I remember years ago the Truman Show with Jim Carrey was filmed out there. But when I really got to looking at it, there's a lot of things that are really, do you think because obviously you have not only a beautiful location and destination, but is the community really come alive?
The community is amazing, and that is the one thing that I think is why we get more repeat business anywhere in the state other than Miami. Panama City has some of the most incredible people, and Panama City Beach, we know, world's most beautiful beaches.
Yeah, sure.
And you put all of that together, and the people just open their arms and welcome them and say, please come in. We want you to film here. What can we do to help you? And that doesn't happen everywhere.
Is there any difference in terms of budget filming in a place like that versus a Miami or LA or?
Not to me, because I treat them all the same.
Yeah.
I take the same guy that's coming in there that's doing his little documentary that's going to be on, True TV or something like that, and I treat him just the same as I do a feature film. I am right there by their side. I act as their production liaison the whole time while they're there. Some film commissions, and I love all of you across Florida. I'm just saying, I don't sit in an office and rubber stamp and charge a fee.
Right.
My job is to go out there and make your job easy.
Yeah.
So between me and the TDC is an amazing backbone, and the county commission is the lifeblood of my office. And so between all of us, we are able to provide a service that the people coming in to film, they couldn't do.
Right.
If they go in and they get handed out a pamphlet, they're on their own. They're sitting at the restaurant
you
talking
seem like
to people,
a gal that gets in the trenches and is involved in every aspect to make sure that you don't seem like a very hands-off gal. But so let's talk in terms of different projects. I know there's a few going on now, but what has been some of the more First of all, what I'm sure there's ups and downs like any industry, but what has been maybe some of your favorite projects that you've been involved with?
Some of the things that I really, really enjoy working on are the music videos. Those are great. We had Trick Pony, Alan Jackson, just some of the major stars have come in, and they're in and out. Luke Bryan's been there over and over, and we just did his 5th anniversary video. Wow. So that's really great. They're in and out in a couple of days. It's high hype. Everybody wants them there, so that's a really positive thing. Some of the other things I really like to do are feature films. They're very tedious, which I like. I enjoy that. And I really enjoyed some of the reality shows, you know.
And did they film, what are example of some of the feature films that have been in that area?
Some of the ones you might not know that were there were Secondhand Lions. That was one of my favorite movies. Yeah. And you would not know that it's been done there. But when you look at that horse run down the beach, that's Panama City Beach.
Right?
That is Shell Island.
Wow.
And it was one of my favorite, but also one of the most tedious trying to get everything done.
How could you go wrong? Robert Duvall.
Oh.
I mean, amazing cast.
Amazing movie.
Yeah.
And what was the kid's name?
Haley Joel Osment.
Haley Joel Osment, man. Amazing. Well, and so I'm sure there's been some projects that you were like, well, why did I sign on to this, or that have been more difficult?
Yes.
Or maybe it's some of the actors. Sometimes do you find that?
There are, and we just actually had one that made distribution, one that we shot back in 2009. I got to give him a plug. Born and Raised. God love him. This was The Little Engine That Could. Yep. And Nick Lorich wrote and produced this, and he's from L.A., but he had been to Panama City and went to high school there, so he had to write this film. During the darkest days of December, 21 days of absolute pure freezing, raining, horrible weather, low budget, and it was one of the most rewarding experiences because it did just get distribution.
Wow, congratulations on
Amazing.
that. Well, I know that, you mentioned music videos. I had no idea how many big celebrities are coming to the area to get involved. And not only that, vacation and to look at the area. In fact, several years ago, I don't know anything about country music. I've tried to love it. I'm still working on it. But I was at this place in the Destin area, this really nice restaurant. And I'm sitting at the bar, and I was single at the time. I'm sitting at the bar, and I was doing some work, and I had a martini. And this very attractive gal comes up to me, and she's like, "Martini, huh? You know, I've never had a martini before." Right? So I said, "Well, I'll get you one." And so we're having a drink, having some nice conversation. And all of a sudden, this guy comes up between us, and he puts his arm between us, and he blocks me. And he's like, "Hey," and he's very rude to her. And she says, "Get out of here. I'm talking to my new friend, Dan." And she throws him out. And so I thought, not much of it. I thought, poor guy, And anyways, about 5 minutes later, somebody whispered in her ear, and she says, "That's fine." And then I noticed all these people kept coming up to her asking for autographs over and over. So I started thinking, there's something I don't know here. And to make a long story short, it was
too late.
It was Amy Grant. Yeah, too late. That story of my life. Amy Grant and the guy that ran off was Vince Gill.
Yeah.
They were having an argument, and I was
Right.
used. I felt very used. She says, "I'm going to go talk to that guy," to try to make him jealous. But
They come do fundraisers every year there. They are great.
But I hear they're amazing people.
Yes, they are. They really are.
Well, and I'm excited to, I don't know if you know this, but let's talk a little bit about what you have going on now. There's a big project happening right now, East Side Story.
Yes.
And now, is this is it a sequel to West Side Story? So many of us remember.
It's a tribute. And this is actually written by the original star, David Winters, who was in the first West Side Story. He was on Broadway, and he was also in the feature film.
Yeah.
And so this is actually the 50th anniversary of when West Side Story came out. So he has written this tribute, and as he tells it, there's only 9 stories that have ever been written, and Shakespeare has written all of them. So this is just another love story. Different people from different sides of the track fall in love. There's, barriers. But this is all told through the story from dance, because this stars all the stars who have been winners and runners-up and the best people from So You Think You Can Dance.
Right.
So it has the first all-star dance cast of a movie since the 1950s.
Well, and David Winters has done some very successful projects. And I have to tell you, it's just really a coincidence. I told you just briefly backstage that somebody very close to me just the other day was in a conversation with David Winters, and there was about 50 people in a restaurant apparently. And people were asking him, "Why did you decide to go to that area to make this film?" And he literally said the film would have never happened without you. And this was just a coincidence. He says, you know, her tenacity of calling me every day and micromanaging every little thing and not letting anything fall, her persistence alone made the film happen. And he says, you know, once we started filming, there was some things that we had to work around, and it wasn't an easy task, but he says the final product was so amazing, and it would have never happened without Julie. So I just wanted to relay that.
And I do have to, he does say that, and he has said that to my face, and he shares his appreciation with me every time I see him, and I appreciate that, because I worked for a year on this project to get it. Every time that they would be somewhere, the scouts would be somewhere in Tampa or South Florida, we found this building, and I said, no, but I can top that, I can get you so-and-so. So I worked for a year to get it because I believed in the project, and I think the project is something that will speak well of the area. It will speak well of the coastal area. It's a family vacation. It's a general, rated movie. It's a G movie.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible dance like you've never seen it shown before.
Well, and how do you, I would suspect that you not only have so many people now that are wanting to come to that area, but probably local projects, people wanting, how do you decide what projects to work on and not work on?
And you're right, because there are those people that have a camera and YouTube and whatever. Now they think they're a producer. But you know what? I try to give everybody at least a little bit of attention and figure out, gee, this might be something interesting. There might be some meat behind this. I'm working with the lady now who had been the booking agent for Grand Ole Opry for 30 years. And so she became very good friends with Minnie Pearl.
Wow.
Worked with her. She wrote her little screenplay. I put her in touch with someone who could write it for her. He wrote it. We read it. I held readings for her so that we could actually sound it out and see how it all flowed. And she just got a call about a month ago that now it's going to be produced on Broadway.
Wow. I wanted to ask, has there been anybody over the years, I know you've been doing this a long time, that's just been a real pain in the you-know-what to work with? Because you hear about these divas where they're like, I want my trailer with like 68 degrees, blue M&Ms, and Fiji water.
She's not going to answer that question.
You know,
Give us some
I
dirt.
don't want to alienate anybody because 99% of them are great.
Yeah.
And I would never mention his name, Pauly Shore, but it was the absolute most difficult job to work with him.
Really? Pauly
really
Shore?
Is. He fired every makeup girl every day. He tore up my last makeup girl's convertible car. He was just, and he was supposed to be babysitting kids while we sent people on vacation. It was for the Country Network, for Country Music Network. And they would send people down. We were glad to host him in Panama City Beach on vacation.
Shore.
And he was supposed to babysit their kids, but behind the cameras, wow, took the cake.
Wow, that would have, I would have thought you had said something like, you know, Mel Gibson or Christina Aguilera or somebody crazy.
I see Robert Wagner at the fish market all the time.
Wow.
I mean, there's great people that come there a lot.
Wow.
So
That's
it's
great.
not.
Well, and speaking of, you know, that area, it is, like you said, a very feel-good community. Everybody kind of, you go down to the local fish market, everybody knows each other. And I know the Panhandle in general has a certain reputation, and even the people living there, a certain set of value system that kind of, how does that come into play with different projects that you know, there's an image to uphold.
I wish David Winters was here to tell you himself, because one of the stories he will say is that when he first got here, he went to the grocery store with his crew. They were stocking up on craft and catering things.
Yep.
The bill was $100.18. At the very end, all he had was a $100 bill. The bag boy handed him the 18 cents. He broke down and cried. He said that would never happen in L.A. And that has happened to him repeatedly. People offer the world to him. And it's not because he's David Winters, because nobody really knows to look at him, who he is, that he's, you know, this famous, incredible director.
Yeah.
But that is part of what I try to do so hard. And I not only try to bring in the great things, I really have to screen a lot of things to keep out. We don't want every single production like we've had before. And we did. We used to take them all. Back in the 80s when we had MTV going just strong, we had productions there that may have tarnished our image.
Sure.
And Panama City Beach is really working very hard to bring that image up.
Yeah.
And so we're working hard to keep the productions at that level too.
Right. Well, Hollywood, they would have like ran off with the groceries instead of forget the 18 cents. So I'm sure coming here, it's such a big difference for somebody of his stature to come to a little community like this. And I'm sure it's going to mean a lot of repeat business once the word gets out about the different projects.
And that's, I think, what is the best part is that the people love the movie people to come in.
Right.
They love the TV shows, and they treat them just like they do their neighbor. Absolutely, let me get you a beer. Absolutely, let me go find your fish in the back of the store. They're just as helpful as they can be.
Right.
And I try to, that's my job too, is to be the liaison between the local community and the film community and make sure they get their shots, but nobody gets abused.
Yeah.
You know, when we're filming at Gulf World, I want to make them stop after they've made those dolphins jump 12 times. They're done.
Yeah, right.
So,
and I'm sure there's some people in the community that are also like, oh, they're blocking my view from my condo, or hey, there's a crowd, the traffic. So you are probably, there's a little schmoozing on both sides
absolutely.
to make everybody happy.
I told Mr. Winters he's going to owe me face surgery after this because I've had to suck up so much to get so many
You
things.
smile to her like aches. Like,
but it is, and it's a wonderful, wonderful position to be
Yeah.
in. And it's not all glitz and glamour. You know, we're up at the crack of dawn and working long, hard days, and it's not all just beautiful TV. But it's something I love to do, and I love the people that I meet. And it's, you know, I'm in absolute heaven there.
well, and I can tell that you love to do it. That's very apparent. You know, for some of our viewers out there that are thinking about getting into the film industry or getting into television or commercials, and actually I've been quite surprised over the last several months. I've met several. Anybody venturing out to be the entrepreneur in that field, do you have any advice for our viewers?
I think the thing is really try a lot of different positions and find what your passion is.
Yeah.
We were fortunate enough on this East Side story, I was able to get 30 interns from the FSU Panama City campus and Gulf Coast State College. So therefore they could go through and try, do you want to work in sound? Do you want to work behind the scenes? Do you want to produce? Do you want to be an actor?
Right.
So find your niche, because there's so many niches even within the film industry. You think you just want to be in the film business, and after the first couple of days they may be worn completely out and not want to do it. So find your absolute niche and just love it and go for it.
Such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And please come back, would you?
Thank you so much.
And I want to give special thanks to Julie Gordon as well as James Parr. That's our show. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Great to have
and
you.
don't forget to get involved in your local community and be forgiving of others. Good night, everybody.
Come experience Nolan's. Savor award-winning steaks, Greek-style cuisine, fresh local seafood, and an extensive choice of wines. Whether you'd like to reserve the large private dining room, enjoy a meal on an outdoor deck, or rock the night away in our lounge, Nolan's now celebrating 25 years of exceeding your expectations for casual fine dining, live entertainment, and dancing nightly.
Real estate today offers incredible opportunities, low prices, and extremely low interest rates. Hi, I'm Amy Norris from Amy Sells the Beach. Right now, there are opportunities in all areas. Our team can help you put your money to work finding your dream or investment property. And if you're looking to sell, no one can give you better exposure to buyers and make your property stand out. Experience matters when looking for opportunity. I'm Amy Norris. See why we're #1 at amysellsthebeach.com.